Cyber Uncut. Discover the changing face of business, government and national security as Australia navigates the cyber revolution.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You have found and are listening to the Cyber Uncut podcast from Cyber Daily. My name's David Hollingworth. I'm the deputy editor of Cyber Daily, and I'm joined by my colleague
Daniel Croft.
I've stolen the hosting chair from him. I've wrested it from his tyranny. Freedom once again stalks these lands.
I had a small rule.
And we're actually going to be swapping back and forth. So Dan's tyranny will return.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
How have you been?
Good. Yeah, good. It's
Good. You always answer that the same way I do. Good.
Yeah. No, it's been good. What did I even do on the weekend? Oh, no, I went out with a mate. We went out for some drinks and saw some live music, and I'm prepping to play for a band that I'm mates with.
Yeah.
At a pretty fun gig. So I'm just learning songs, scrambling to learn songs nice and quick.
He is scrambling to learn songs.
Yeah.
He's sitting at his desk and he's constantly...
Yeah. It's just...
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally had a lunch break not that long ago where I got my lunch and I sat in the park and I just mimed the entire set because I thought, oh,
People in the park going, look at this insane man.
That's okay. I don't care how they look at me. It's fine. What about you?
I had a fantastic war game with a mate on Saturday, and it went forever. He popped over at midday. We probably started throwing moving models around the table. For those curious, the game is Legions Imperialis, very, very, very tiny spacemans. And we didn't finish until probably 8:30.
Yep.
It was just one of those long, great games that we just wanted to get to the end of.
Yeah.
Because it was anyone's until it wasn't. And then
Yeah.
it wasn't mine, and I got lost. And it was a great, great game. Speaking of great, well, some of it's great. Some of it's great.
Some of it is great.
Some of it's weird. But let's get into it. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, as usual, let's open with AI, and let's talk about how Instagram's using AI for its part in the age assurance trial.
Yeah. So pretty much they've been trialing this, I believe, since about April, using AI to verify ages of users. And now they're going, great, we're going to do it. So Mia Garlick, Meta's regional policy director, said, understanding age online is a complex industry-wide challenge, especially if people misrepresent. There we go, I got that.
You got it out, good.
How old they are. We've spent many years and invested heavily to refine our AI technology to identify in a privacy-preserving way whether someone is under or over 18. So at the moment, what it'll do is if you're screened as being underage, under 16 or under 18, I think it might be at the moment, you'll be put into a teenage account when you sign up.
Yeah.
You've got limited access to what you can see. You can't live stream, I believe.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
However, at the moment, you can go in and say, this identified me wrong. I'm going to go and take my full account now.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's part of the trial or not. That's just what was reported. I don't know exactly how that works either.
Yeah, I'm like, so what is the AI doing? Is it looking at behavior and those kind of metrics?
Well, from what I've seen in terms of like what other social media companies are doing in terms of age, they're recognizing language, faces, what you're looking at, things like that. And that's TikTok. I'm talking about in that one.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a sign-up process thing.
Yeah.
So obviously, you don't have things like what the kind of content
it doesn't have that user data.
Yeah. So I assume it will be biometric.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. We've spoken long and hard about what the best way to police this is. There was, you've got to show IDs and stuff to the social media giants, and then they have to delete it. People didn't like that. Obviously, you're collecting sensitive data.
This seems where like a digital ID would be, a government-backed digital ID, where they're the point of trust. Banks are already using this process where there is a single holder of your digital ID that's verified who you are. They're holding the data, not the banks are. So the bank goes to this third party and says, is David Hollingworth actually David Hollingworth? And they go, yep, we know he is. Cool, done.
Yeah.
Banks don't hold that data.
But that's Australian banks, right?
Australian banks.
These are international social media organizations, and data is their money.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of it, and a lot of money. So, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Now, none of us are expecting a flawless rollout of this social media ban.
No.
I don't. Even our government isn't. They know that this is new. We've seen around the world people have trialed this and have introduced this.
And people are looking at us too, because I think von der Leyen, the EU leader of the EU, is like really inspired by what we're doing and is looking closely at it. And a lot of countries are looking at it.
Well, we were the first to announce doing it,
Yeah.
and then a bunch of other countries popped up and didn't do a year thing like we are.
Yeah.
And I think we're benefiting because we can see what is done wrong, what's being done well.
Yeah.
I will touch, it's not in our notes, we just read as well that the e-safety commissioner is eyeing
I'm glad you bring this
to be included
actually,
in this.
Actually asking GitHub, does it consider itself to be a social media platform? And all I can think is GitHub responds, sadly, in code. So we saw this article on the Register, and the Reg did point out, or LReg as they're called, did point out that coders can get snarky in the comments there.
Sure.
But is it a social media platform?
No.
It seems out of scope,
and
I've got to say.
We spoke about YouTube and its potential to be a really, really good resource for education.
Yeah.
All right. I think GitHub, particularly if you're looking at getting into computer programming, you're entering the tech, like, you're a student or a young person really interested in entering the IT space, an industry that does have staff shortages. Things like GitHub are invaluable. When I was in uni, I was doing computer programming for a while.
Yeah.
GitHub was brilliant. GitHub was the place to go. And so I think putting restrictions on that, we may be getting, for lack of a better term, a bit too bubble wrappy. It's like in breaking news, students, young kids must now leave the house wearing knee pads and a helmet.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to protect everyone from everything.
Yeah.
I think that is a bad goal. I think the focus on social media is where it should
we're at that point where it's really throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah. I think it could just get too much.
Yeah.
And I think you're also just going to get you're going to push people harder to get around it.
And this is also a serious concern.
But anyway, tangent aside.
Dead air. Okay, so more AI stuff. I'll take this one. So New South Wales is following in the footsteps of the South Australian government by releasing a state-of-the-art generative AI app to public school students. It is called NSWEduChat, with lots of different capitalizations in there because, of course, there is. It's already been trialled in 50 schools around the state, and apparently positive. So here's what Courtney Houssos, I keep pronouncing it Housos because she's acting Minister for Education and Early Learning, but with a name like that, she should be Minister for Housing. The development of this safe curriculum-aligned tool shows the power of our public education system to deliver world-leading innovation to classrooms across New South Wales. Generative AI is rapidly becoming part of everyday life, and through NSWEduChat, we are helping our students to safely and responsibly build the digital literacy that will set them up for success in the jobs of the future. I've got to say,
that's the whole point of having this technology to me, is that. Build the digital literacy that will set them up for the success in the jobs of the future.
I'm for that because we know that AI, whether you love it or hate it, AI is here. And whether the bubble bursts or not, personally, I think there is a real danger of the bubble bursting. The infrastructure isn't going to go anywhere.
No.
I read a fantastic article on this subject where somebody was pointing out that when the .com bubble burst, the cabling, the internet, all of that infrastructure didn't go anywhere. It just got redistributed. And I think AI is going to be very, very similar if something does happen. It's here now, for better or worse. Let's teach people how to use it.
And one thing I really like, something you pointed out in your article, is that it's not like a chatbot like ChatGPT where you go, what's the answer to this?
It's not about answers. It's about guiding the kids to the correct answer.
Which promotes that critical thinking that is such a concern with generative AI chatbots in schools. And that's fantastic. It sounds like, from what I understand, sounds like the trial was good.
From what I've seen and from what South Australia is doing, and obviously, flesh and blood teachers are going to be part of the loop.
Absolutely.
There's a version of this tool which has already been rolled out to teachers as well to help them with lesson planning. And we know that our teachers are really overworked. So anything which becomes a force multiplier that a system like this, and we know what AI can do in our roles and our jobs as well, and as a little virtual vertical assistant, a virtual assistant, effectively, just to help you with little tasks. So I think this is good.
I also don't think this is going to be a job threat at all for teachers as well. I think that, like you said, the human in the loop thing is really, really important, especially because it's not giving real answers. Teachers are going to be the people who are like, okay, this is how you approach using AI you know, for this kind of skill, and that obviously translates to the workforce. I think the role of teachers will change a bit, but I don't think it's going to threaten
Everything's
their jobs.
going to change a bit, but I think that's the thing. No, I don't see this putting any teacher out of work. If anything, it's going to make the job easier for the teachers who are already overworked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm all for this. This is really, really good. I feel like I know more about this than the South Australian one. I think that's because of the trial and all of these things.
So during the trial, the students who were using it used it for a number of different things: to receive feedback on their writing, to brainstorm, which I thought was an interesting one, as their own virtual assistant, and to help them structure their own writing. So all of that is effectively it's another teacher, if you will. Yeah. So I mean, could it be misused? I think most things
probably
can be in class, but I think with the right oversight, it's definitely a positive move.
Like a tool like that, when I was like in Year 12 and doing maths, and I was looking up YouTube tutorials, and there was, I forget the name, Wolfram Alpha, and I was using things to show working and stuff like that. A tool like that, because that wasn't me trying to cheat and game it. I wanted to know how it was done. And a tool like that, which can tell you, and not just in terms of
mathematics, which can walk you through something and let you reach your own conclusions from that. Exactly.
I think that is a really, really invaluable tool. I really, really do. I love that. More positive news that we didn't include in our positive news section.
Yeah, but we do have some positive news. We do. Let's give positivity farewell and go to Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
Love him, hate him, mourn him or not. He has spoken from beyond the grave.
Pardon me, I'm burpy.
And I don't mean in some kind of like post-rapture religious event. I mean an AI.
Yeah. So
background, in case just, Charlie Kirk, firebrand for the far right in the US, tragically murdered while speaking at a university campus a couple of weeks ago, has become quite the symbol and martyr for that part of the political spectrum. And now there's a Charlie Kirk AI addressing mega churches across the US.
As soon as he died, there was like a bunch of different AI videos of him, most of which were portraying him, meeting Jesus in heaven. And there was one that literally, I think, it spoke in detail about like how great the relationship, not in detail, but it spoke about how great the relationship is between the US and Israel. And that brings me to my concerns with this next one. Now, for context, there was a big memorial for his death. The president attended and stuff. And
there were fireworks. I saw them.
Pyrotechnics. Bit odd, but not going to yuck someone's yum. Anyway, so 3 of the mega churches in the US played an AI video. There were memorials going all over the country, and they played this AI video of Kirk speaking from beyond the grave. Now, I'm going to read the thing out in full because I think it's all relevant.
Very worthwhile.
And then I want to talk about my concerns.
Yes.
Which I'm sure we share.
So what did Charlie Kirk have to say?
So his words were, first, I want you to know I'm fine, not because my body is fine, but because my soul is secure in Christ. Death is not the end. It's a promotion. Don't waste 1 second mourning me. I knew the risks of standing up in this cultural moment, and I'd do it all over again. Second, do not let this violence divide us further. The enemy wants chaos, fear, and retaliation. Don't give it to him. Instead, double down on truth, double down on courage, double down on your faith and on your families. That is how you honor me. Third, remember this. America is worth it. Free speech is worth it. Fighting for the unborn, for families, for sanity in a culture gone mad. It is all worth it. So dry your tears, pick up your cross, and get back in the fight. Do it with joy, do it with strength, and never, ever let evil think it won.
I will murder anybody who creates an AI of me to do that if I die, and I will come back for it.
So at all these churches, it was disclosed that this was AI.
I'm sure it was.
But people were saying that this was based on words he'd actually said.
Yeah.
That's not true. It's roughly based on him and his political views, for sure.
His shine through in that, absolutely. But it's not him.
It's not. He never said any of this word for word, and that's the danger of it. You're putting words in the mouth of an individual that can't say, that is not what I believe. There is dangerous risk there is risk in, the kind of political influence that can have, particularly for someone like Charlie Kirk, who that's what he was. He was
a flashpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the first one, for example, he says his soul is secure in Christ. Death is not the end.
That really worries you, doesn't it, that one?
A little bit. It was the one that stood out to me first. Now, I know this is an extreme example, but if you had someone who was, very, very, very religious, very diehard religious, and, very diehard for people like Kirk, and they didn't realize this was AI, and they said, wow, death isn't the end. I want to go and join my... This is, again, very extreme example, I will acknowledge.
Yeah.
But, it is not a zero chance thing.
Yeah.
You get someone who'll go, I want to, go and join my Lord and stuff like that.
It amazes me how, when you and I cover, we cover artificial intelligence, we cover deepfakes, we cover cybersecurity, how broad that remit can be.
Yeah.
That we're not aiming to tackle what Charlie Kirk did or said while he was alive, but the fact that now in his death, he is being packaged almost into a product, and that's what happens when you turn someone into when you deepfake someone like this. You could effectively make him say anything.
It's about influence that's spread without the permission, pretty much, of the actual person. The second one, do not let this violence divide us further. The enemy.
That's what gets me.
That one gets me as well. It's like, we don't want greater division, but they are the enemy. And it's like, I that bit I don't like. A culture gone mad.
We also need to be upfront here that Charlie Kirk's politics is not our politics in this podcast. It's probably obvious to our regular listeners.
When I was writing this story, I was going to do a bit of opinion in it, but I thought this is not the place for it because don't get me wrong, I'm a person that didn't like Charlie.
But it is very easy to get caught up in that and become part of the problem.
I wasn't a fan of Charlie Kirk. I don't think he should have been killed. There's an artist I really like called Jesse Wells, and he wrote a song after it, and he's a lefty. And he wrote this lyric that said, you can't hate the gun, but love the gun that killed your rival. And I think that's a great way of putting it. It's like, you can't be anti-gun and then go, yippee, someone's been killed.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, we are getting off track a little bit.
So it's a challenging one because we've seen AI used in courtrooms. To give as part of a victim impact statement by letting the victims speak on their behalf. And it's just again...
That one I had less issue with, weirdly. Only because it was exclusively, it was set out that this was not to influence anything. The speech itself was vetted to not interrupt the legal process. This obviously is not a legal process, but the US is in a very fragile political place. And this is added to that. And I think using that to kind of, send a message.
If this were a political podcast, and it's not, we could talk a lot more.
Yeah, we should move on.
But we should move on. It's okay. We'll be back talking about Charlie Kirk again after a short break, but a different topic this time. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Cyber Uncut. He's Dan. I'm David. We talk cyber now.
Yeah.
We'll get to the crimes shortly. Because certainly there have been some. But we want to continue talking about this Charlie Kirk thing because in the wake of his tragic death, various elements in the US decided that freedom of speech be damned. We are going to list people who aren't mourning him correctly. And a website was set up called Cancel the Hate, where especially it was aimed at teachers and professionals and academics and doctors who, if they'd said something ill of the dead, you were to out them, say who they were so that people could, what did the website say? So that people could make an informed choice about who they want to go to for this kind of advice. And it said all over the place, we do not condone doxing. We do not condone you going after and abusing these people. But what else do you think it's going to be used
exactly.
for? That's just so...
It's a throwaway line.
Disingenuous. It's not funny. However, the site has been shut down, is now being sold to someone else because it was leaking all the data of everybody who had dobbed on these people who weren't doing grief properly.
So you're dobbing people in, but but you're sacrificing your own security to do it.
Yeah.
The irony of that is
pretty
funny.
wild. I am happy with the headline of this one. Cancel the Hate cancels itself after alleged leak of user data.
So good.
So, so this is found by an individual, I love hacker names, Bob the Hacker. Non-zero chance they're a furry, I'm just going to point out.
Yeah.
Who went to a news outlet called Straight Arrow News and said, hey, I've found this. And this is something we don't normally like talking about. Security analysts who go to find problems and then amplify them.
Yeah.
But this one's kind of too interesting to not cover.
Yeah.
Given that, this is a site that we want to preserve your privacy. We don't want to do any of that. Well, guess what? You're not preserving anyone's privacy, let alone not the people you're outing, nor the people who are doing the outing. It was just one big mess.
In a way, this is different because the people that this is now outing are the people who did the crime in the first place. It is almost like highlighting a cyber criminal at a much lesser level.
Yeah,
if you're literally allowing other people to get doxxed, you've been doxxed yourself. I think that's worth
it's
covering.
interesting because the site actually had, it listed its privacy rules quite clearly, and to avoid rampant abuse, any further rampant abuse of it, every submission must include verifiable information about the submitter. You got to prove who you are, right?
Yeah.
And you can't do it anonymously. That's okay. If you want to dob in someone, you got to dob in yourself, I guess. Submitter information is not shared or made public. Narrator, yes, it was. The flaw in the app, discovered by the security researcher who identifies himself as Bob the Hacker, wrote Straight Arrow News, enabled the exposure of user information such as email addresses and phone numbers. Although email addresses were included in profile bios by default, seemingly unbeknownst, I have issues with anybody using archaic language like that in modern, but I'm not going to get into it. Unbeknownst to many of the platform's users, the data could still be exposed, even if the privacy settings were enabled to keep it hidden. And Straight Arrow News confirmed that all of this data was real. They reached out. I love this. They actually reached out to one user of the site. The user, who asked to remain anonymous over fears of retribution, expressed concerns that Cancel the Hate might be a scam after receiving an influx of donation requests to their email. And I can't say I'm not surprised. But, there were 35,000 people who put their data into that. So it's 35,000 people whose data could well be now compromised. But it's okay. The website, even though it's changing hands, even though that register of people not doing grief right is gone, you can still buy a T-shirt there.
Oh, boy. You know what? I almost
fine.
want a T-shirt because of this.
Yeah. And we're very much in the do you laugh or cry at the state of the world at the moment. I'm choosing to laugh at whatever I can.
Yeah.
It's a common refrain that certain members of the right are just in it for the grift, and I've got to say, I'm glad the T-shirt sales are going strong.
Yeah.
And it's probably a good time to move on from that one. So whatever you do, don't go to Cancel the Hate, because they'll probably cancel your anonymity. Meanwhile, crimes.
Yeah.
How's Jaguar Land Rover going?
Well, look, we were looking at
Not
this.
saying they've done crimes have been committed on them, so just...
Yeah. They've not done anything wrong. Well, criminal. That we know of.
Dig up, guys.
There's all bases kind of covered, and me in a
sort
pit.
of covered.
I know. So Jaguar Land Rover, we saw a lot of news that it was just, there was a point where their operations were supposed to continue.
Yeah.
I think it was yesterday for us,
Yeah.
so September 24, and it didn't happen.
Yep.
And there was a lot of news. It was like, hack's still going. It's like, that's not worth reporting on. What you found, though, was that Jaguar Land Rover was in the process of negotiating a cyber insurance policy at the time of the cyber attack. They never got it before it happened.
It's wild, isn't it? Like that, you couldn't make that one up.
Yeah, so Reuters, I believe, originally reported this one. They were speaking with Lockton, so global insurance broker, about getting a cyber insurance policy. However, didn't get finalized before the hack happened. And now, according to the BBC, Jaguar Land Rover is suffering losses of roughly £50 million a week. So that's what, 90 million Australian, roughly, something like that.
It's a lot of Australian dollars.
Every week. And that's really the only update besides the fact that it's still going.
The factory's still offline, and that means all of the third-party suppliers who make parts and other stuff, their parts are going nowhere.
There are genuine concerns about the UK manufacturing industry. Now, this is the UK's biggest car maker. They are owned by Tata, so an Indian company.
Yep.
But when you think British car, if you don't think James Bond's Aston, you think a Jag or a Land Rover.
Yeah.
That's it. Jaguar Land Rover is like inherently British in terms of branding.
Yeah. Except for maybe that three-wheeled car that Mr. Bean drives.
Oh, what is that? I know what that's called.
We're now stopping the podcast to look this up. We are not stopping the podcast to look that up.
No, that Mr. Bean drives. That's a Mini.
Is it a Mini?
Yeah, it's a great little green Mini. No, I'm thinking of the Reliant Robin.
That's
the blue one that he always knocks over.
That's the Reliant Robin.
That's the one I was trying to think of, the Reliant Robin.
Excellent. You got there in the end.
He drives a little green Mini with a black bonnet.
Okay, your knowledge of Mr. Bean is slightly alarming.
But
please
do
go
like
on
little
about
minis.
Jaguar Land Rover.
So that's pretty much where we're at with it, to be honest. I think it's been attributed to Scattered Spider or Shiny Hunter or something. It's all up in the air. I won't get too into that.
The gang that isn't real, that's real, that might have quit but hasn't quit.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is just being attributed to Shiny Hunters alone now. For that exact reason.
You might be an individual, might be many individuals.
So it's all very up in the air. I won't get too into that, but
we will in a bit.
Yeah, we will.
But speaking of impactful hacks, we're also looking at another one at the moment, and that's the one that took down Collins Aerospace, which in turn took down, I don't know, just 4 of the biggest airports in Europe.
Yeah.
And the UK, because it's no longer part of Europe because Brexit. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But yes, so anyway, last weekend, actually Friday night, so before the weekend, Collins Aerospace has a system called Muse, which runs check-in and boarding operations for a mess of major airports. And it appears to have been the target of a ransomware attack. This is interesting because according to Kevin Beaumont, a security analyst, it's a really basic set of ransomware. It's called Hardbit. It dates back to 2022. The operators of this ransomware don't even have a leak site. They just deal entirely with the victim. They don't do blackmail. They just purely say, we've encrypted your data. If you want it back, pay us. There's no leak site operation.
So it's not like threatening to leak data. It's all just we've locked down your systems.
Literal ransomware.
Okay.
Single layer of extortion.
Yeah, just encryption. All right, I see.
And so this knocked over the boarding and check-in systems at Heathrow, Dublin, Berlin, and Brussels airports. And so we're talking dozens of cancellations, hundreds of delays. If you've ever been to, I'm sure you've been to Heathrow.
Yeah, I've been to Heathrow.
It's big, right?
It's a big airport. It's annoying, that airport.
It's very annoying there. I once had an 8-hour layover there in a flight from, I was waiting for a flight to Reykjavik at the end of a flight from Sydney to Heathrow. And let me tell you, that was an error.
I'm lucky that my last time at Heathrow, I was only coming from Frankfurt.
Yep.
And when I got there, that was it.
That was it, yes.
but getting out takes way too long.
I'm just thinking of the sheer size and scale of that airport operation and what a crap fight, I didn't say the bad word, it would be if all of that fell over. Their check-in staff were falling back to manual check-in.
Yeah.
And that's just going to slow things down like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you had a flight from, say, Dublin to Heathrow to Berlin. I'm sorry, you've got a bad time ahead,
you
buddy.
do. Yeah.
I don't know why
we could ask our aviation people if that's a real route.
Collins Aerospace, which is owned by a company called RTX. Yep. RTX owns Collins Aerospace, Raytheon, big defense contractor, and Pratt & Whitney, who also own defense and aerospace. Collins Aerospace is more, I think, on the systems side. Collins Aerospace, every time they try to restore their systems, the malware pops back up. So it looks as though, 1, victim of a crime, bad. 2, from what I know, it's a simple piece of malware, and they can't get it off their systems. So it feels like someone isn't quite doing their job at Collins Aerospace.
I suppose if you want to only do encryption, it needs to be good encryption as well.
But also, the malware's there; they can't get rid of it. Apparently, according to Kevin Beaumont, any half-decent AV system should be able to spot Hardbit coming, but theirs didn't. So there's some issue somewhere. That's his belief, and I've got to say I tend to agree with him. This should be a lot easier to mediate than it is.
Yeah.
Mind you, complex system.
Yeah.
Would I want to be doing this mediation? No. You probably could pay me enough, but it would need to be an awful lot. However, there's already been an arrest. And funnily enough, it's not some teen or early 20s script
No.
kiddie. It's a man in his 40s from West Sussex.
Which is really odd because usually hackers are from
kids. They're
anywhere, Eastern Europe, and
particularly, yeah.
16.
But yeah, so he has been arrested and released on bail. Investigations are ongoing. That's what the UK's National Crime Agency says. But then again, recovery's ongoing. All these airports are still using manual check-in processes. Heathrow is trying to work with all of the airlines that fly through there to try and help. As far as I know, our former colleague, Adam Thorne, editor of Australian Aviation, is in the UK, and there's every likelihood he's going to have to deal with this.
Yeah.
He'll be storming up to the check-in counter. Don't you know who,
We should reach out.
who I am?
We should reach out.
Impersonation. We should see if we can get an exclusive from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I mean, it's just another example of that kind of single point of failure, the same kind of thing that we saw with CrowdStrike last year, where one system goes down and there's just no way to get back up from it. A Australian academic has actually said this is an absolute wake-up call for our airports because it could absolutely happen here.
Yeah.
And so every airport operator needs to be thinking of, what's our failover plan? What's our backup? Are we ready to run manual, or can we have a second system up and running? And I absolutely agree with them. Every airport in the world should be looking at this going, oh,
yeah, this is the ultimate warning.
Because it's not a hack on the airports, it's on Collins Aerospace and their back end, which has done this. So I think we're going to see more and more of these big single point of failure hacks that just take down systems all through a sector like the airline industry. It's quite a thing, and funnily enough, it was thought there must have been a scattered spider or shiny hunter's hack. It may not be. However, scattered spider members getting arrested and handing themselves in left, right, and centre, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, so it started off, 2 were arrested by the UK National Crime Agency.
They've been very busy.
In connection to the Transport for London attack, which
and I
was
believe
last year?
Those 2 have also been linked to the retail hacks too.
Actually, yes, that's true. So it started off, the 2 individuals were... Tala Joubert, 19 years of age, and Owen Flowers, 18 years of age.
Yep.
So, interestingly enough, Flowers was actually already arrested for this incident, the TFL hack. September last year, so about a year ago. So they found that he was involved in cyber attacks against US healthcare companies. He was charged with conspiring with others to infiltrate and damage, and in regards to 2 US healthcare organizations. Joubert, this is his first arrest, and he was identified as having been involved in previous cyber attacks targeting US organizations, according to a Justice Department unsealed criminal complaint. So now they've both been arrested again. And they both face charges under conspiring together to commit unauthorized acts against Transport for London. And CrowdStrike has said that these guys are scattered spider members. So Adam Myers, head of counter-adversary operations, he said the arrests of scattered spider members in the UK represent a significant blow to one of the most disruptive e-crime groups operating today. And then he goes into detail about who Scattered Spider are, and then says,
"They're the threat group recreated."
That's
Sorry,
their
Adam,
name.
Dan and I have both interviewed Adam previously, and he is an absolute sharp as a tack.
Yeah, he's a genius, that guy. Scattered Spider is a name that was coined by CrowdStrike.
Because that's part of their
that's their attribution.
Any criminal group, it gets Spider, and the what's the grammatic term for the word that comes first?
The first word.
Yeah, that's a good one. That'll do. Is usually chosen by the team that has managed to discover that nexus of activity.
Yep.
And so I think they've chosen Scattered because this is a loose collective.
Yeah, exactly.
But by calling them Scattered Spider, it creates this idea of
They're a
more
centralized
group, which they really, really aren't. It could be worse. It could be something like Gingham Panda. I'd love to be called Gingham Panda.
But funnily enough, they were not the only arrests made, because one individual in Las Vegas handed themselves in.
Dan and I both follow a site and an individual called Dark Web Informer.
Yeah.
And this, I've spoken to them on social media a couple of times, and they're really good people. They are heavily involved in this ecosystem. And I think their comment was, "What kind of idiot hands himself in after pulling off a crime like this?"
Yeah. So for context, he's being charged in relation to the hacks of MGM and
MGM
Caesars.
casinos. Yeah.
So yeah, Las Vegas casinos hands himself in to Clark County Juvenile Detention Center in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So he's facing 1 count of extortion, 1 count of conspiracy to commit extortion, 1 count of unlawful acts regarding computers, and 3 counts of obtaining and using personal identifying information of another person to harm or impersonate a person.
Yeah.
And he's going to be tried as an adult.
I mean, it's interesting. You know, we have a conversation here in Australia, especially up in Queensland, about, you know, adult crime, adult time.
Yeah.
I lean against it. I mean, they're still kids, but in this case, if he's old enough to hack.
Yeah, I think, it's a discretionary thing.
Yeah.
That would be the word they would use.
It was. But so, you know, going back to what Dark Web Informer said, you know, who would do this? Clearly, members who are linked to Scattered Spider and Shiny Hunters are getting arrested all over the world. So
handing yourself in and pleading guilty, you're going to face less.
Given there's high likelihood that if you know other Scattered Spider members and they've been nicked, they're going to start plea bargaining.
Yeah.
And if they know other people, why wouldn't they?
Being not centralized as well, like, I mean, I know that's harder because there aren't hard ties between people, but if a number of individuals have worked together on a cyber attack.
Well, there'll be chat logs. There'll be all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
There'll be all kinds of digital crumbs
exactly.
that the forensics guys can follow to link these guys together.
Yeah. So, he'll probably get less of a... Not a slap on the wrist.
No, he won't get a slap on the wrist. But having handed himself in, that will work in his favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would be shocked if there isn't some kind of jail time or juvenile detention time.
Yeah.
For this guy. I don't know. Maybe the NSA will recruit him.
I think there was a Shiny Hunters member, I think, that got 8 years recently.
Yeah.
Oh, it might not be Shiny Hunters. So if that's the going rate, he might get, I don't know. I'm not going to make a guess, actually.
And of course, there'll be some kind of forfeiture of any funds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What gets me, though, is that one of the guys that was arrested by the NCA, because he was arrested the year before, I want to know what happened between then and now.
I don't know, on bail.
Out on bail.
In his spare time.
Obviously there'd be some sort of ban of internet use. And,
no smart TVs in that home.
Yeah, exactly. And he's probably just violated that, or they found more, or I don't know.
Yeah. It'd be interesting.
I don't know. But anyway.
But the thing is that, you know, and we spoke last week about the fact that Scattered Lapses Hunters have said, we're quitting. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was either a smokescreen or some members of that group have gone, we've got enough money. We're done.
Yeah.
We're gonna buy a condo in Abu Dhabi or any country that has no extradition treaties with the US. Yeah. And we're gonna live large, live on interest.
Yeah. Well, probably, especially with the the scattered element.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh well. There you go.
Who knows what we'll be talking about in regards to Scattered Spider, Shiny Lapses, Hunter dudes.
We do not
week.
know. We don't know. Yeah. And we probably will have more for you next week.
Almost certainly. Now, before we take a short break, we spoke last week about an ongoing campaign targeting JavaScript code repositories or NPM packages.
Yeah.
It's still happening. Now there's a new campaign that's embedding malicious QR codes into these packages. I've not looked at that in a lot of detail, but it's still happening. GitHub, however, has gone, okay, we need to do something about this, particularly in relation to the Shai Halud, I'm going to say it again, Shai Halud worm that we spoke about. So at the moment, GitHub has removed more than 500 compromised packages from its NPM registry and has basically gone, okay, we're going to block the uploading of any new packages that might have any indicators of compromise linked to the worm, and is also this is what GitHub has said. GitHub is committed to investigating these threats and mitigating the risks they pose to the open source community. To address token abuse and self-replicating malware, we will be changing authentication and publishing options in the near future to only include local publishing with two-factor authentication required. It's weird whenever I hear a company going, you know what, we're going to make 2FA mandatory. Because It should be.
Yeah, that's a 2015 thing in my eyes.
Granular tokens, which will have a limited lifetime of 7 days. That's good. You can't get hold of a token maliciously and have it be good forever.
Yep.
Sure, you then have a window of 7 days to do something with it, but at least it's something.
Yeah.
And trusted publishing, where basically it's zero trust for coding, effectively. Where NPM released support for trusted publishing, it was our intention to let adoption of this new feature grow organically. However, attackers have shown us that they are not waiting. We strongly encourage projects to adopt trusted publishing as soon as possible for all supported package managers, because this is weird. Like within the space of 8 days, maybe 9 days, 3 separate campaigns targeting these NPM packages.
Yeah,
and I don't know, maybe there's a cyber hacking forum somewhere where people are having this chat about, hey, NPM packages, that's the way to go. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Or evil minds think alike, and so suddenly it's just the latest trend to go after these packages. But 500 packages infected.
Yeah.
We even talked about the fact that CrowdStrike got hit by this. They spotted it.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone out there who is a JavaScript coder and takes advantage of these NPM packages, just be careful. Be careful out there, as they say. And on that slightly up note, I guess, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Cyber Uncut. You are
Daniel Croft.
I am
David Hollingworth.
Yes. So now, good news.
Good news.
We actually do have some good news this time.
Yeah.
So, not-for-profits, when they get hit by a cyber attack, it's often pretty harsh, because these guys don't have a lot of money to spend on cybersecurity. They're often spending all of their money on what they're trying to support.
Yeah.
However, they've now got some backup, don't they?
Yeah, so it's been going for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's a partnership between PwC Australia and Info Exchange, and they run cyber attack simulation programs for these not-for-profits. So this comes at a good time. So PwC found there was a 59% increase in ransomware incidents in the NFP sector just in the last calendar year.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
Also, why would you target a not-for-profit? Because they're not going to have a lot of cash on hand.
Yeah, but they're also not got a lot of security.
Yeah, true.
It's just about getting in.
Fruit and all that.
Yeah. So likewise, Info Exchange found that NFPs don't have necessary protections, and that 61% of organizations said that financial limitations were the biggest barrier.
Yeah.
So what PwC and Info Exchange have been doing for, this is the 5th year, I believe, have been running these cyber attack simulations. And I reading about them, I actually really, really like how they sound. So they place the not-for-profits in both the role of the attacker and the defender.
Oh, that's interesting.
For an awareness point of view. So you can understand attacker methodologies, you get a full kind of awareness of the process, and you learn how to fight them.
Yeah.
And so what was it? believe it was PwC Australia cybersecurity and privacy partner Chris Davis said, with cyber criminals now using AI to create more sophisticated attacks, our collaboration with Info Exchange ensures Australia's charitable sector has the knowledge and tools to defend the sensitive community data they're entrusted to protect. Yeah. Now, not-for-profits are often charities and things like that. People put trust in them, give financial details, things like that. This is not unimportant data. This is significant, big-time data. They, I don't know specifics, but they would have data on the people they're trying to help. They wealth of data.
So think of, say, the Australian Red Cross. Think of the data they might hold.
Yeah. If you have a healthcare organization of some kind as well, you're going to have medical histories and things like that as well.
Or imagine you're supporting homeless, or you're supporting any number of people who are doing it hard. Yeah. And you're holding that data as well.
Exactly.
These people are already vulnerable.
Yeah. So look, this is, a really, really great thing. When you came across this and sent this to me today, I was pretty stoked with it.
But it's that figure, 59% increase. I mean, everybody's facing more and more attacks.
Yeah.
But that's a particularly nasty one.
59% in just the last calendar year, which isn't over.
So far.
Great.
So, I thought this was meant to be the good news bit.
No, but that's not the good news.
That's not the good news.
That's not the good news. The rest is. Well done to them, because that's a really, really cool initiative.
Yeah, that is.
Speaking of good news.
Yes, and we're looking at some more action against deepfakes, aren't we?
Yeah, at a state level now, the New South Wales government has bolstered protections against the creation and use of harmful deepfakes and other image abuse with new legislation. Now, this happened, we reported on it on Friday last week. So this is through amendments to the Crimes Act. And it's the Crimes Amendment, Intimate Images and Audio Material Bill.
Yeah.
So any deepfakes that are sexually explicit designed to mimic real people is now a criminal offence.
Yep.
It has a punishment of up to 3 years in prison. And, you know, it's already illegal to record or distribute sexually explicit or intimate images of someone without consent.
Absolutely, yeah. Revenge porn.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yeah.
But there's no coverage for
the
AI.
virtual stuff.
Yeah, digitally altered, still covered.
Yep.
AI was never covered because
No.
it's like, oh, well, you know, that's not the person, right? Or blah, 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 blah.
But we know the real damage this is causing, particularly in schools.
Yeah, massively.
Where this kind of imagery gets created and shared. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's disgusting, frankly. So Premier Chris Minns said there is no place for gender-based abuse in New South Wales, and that includes through the use of deepfakes.
Yeah.
These are important changes to keep women safe from this insidious form of
Yeah.
abuse.
And that's the thing. It's pretty much always women who are impacted by this. Yeah.
The
and men
massive,
who are carrying it out.
The massive majority of victims are women.
Yeah.
Which, you know, so it very much is gender-based abuse.
Yes, it is. Yeah, no doubt.
This legislation sends a clear message. Those who seek to target women using this technology now face serious consequences.
Yeah.
So prosecutors and law enforcement are going to be getting extra tools to deal with people who are creating this kind of content.
Yeah.
And yeah, fantastic to see this at a state level. We've already seen this at a federal level, changes being made there as well. We've seen this happen overseas in the US.
Yeah.
So the fact that a really, really vile, disgusting use of AI is being taken care of.
Is being addressed.
Is great. And, you know, being digital as well, it doesn't have geographical boundaries.
Oh.
You can have people from all over the world do it and not be under the jurisdiction here.
Yeah.
So it's really, really good to hear that we, along with the rest of the world, seem to be
starting
waking
catch
up to
on
it.
this one. Yeah.
But anyway, that's where we are with that.
We consider that to be definitely good news about a very, very horrible subject.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to sign off, Dan.
I think so.
All right. Thank you for listening, everyone. We'll be back next week with another episode of Cyber Uncut. You can find Daniel and I on Cyber Daily for your daily dose of AI and cybersecurity news. We are on LinkedIn. We have a newsletter you can sign up to. We also have a new CISO Brief newsletter.
We do.
It goes out every Monday at midday, and it is a very much focused at the CISOs who read our work, with advice for CISOs, everything from zero trust to the role of the CISO in the company, as well as the most important news from that last week that every CISO should know, from threat intelligence to compliance and regulations and all that stuff. We're quite excited about it.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to sign off.
All right.
Bye, Dan.
See ya.
Bye.